Hello, fellow armchair Imagineers. It's your podcasting compatriot, Tiki, here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Jacob Wile too.
And together we form mathematically equating, analysts complete. We form the Big Podcast 3!
Phase 2.
Phase 2. Da-da! Da 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 da. You guys get what I just did there? I just did like an off-brand Avengers theme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like close to Alan Silvestri, but it wasn't quite the Avengers theme.
I think you might get an eye roll from Kevin Feige, but I think he appreciates it.
All right, so yes, that's right, folks. Big Hero 6. Ooh, Dragon, you want to lay out? Well, let's first of all, we're talking in episodes 1 through 5 of season 2. We're talking about Internabout, Seventh Wheel, Prey, Date, Something's Fishy, and Nega-Globby. But Dragon, why are we talking about all 5 of these in one podcast? Pray tell.
Well, folks, to put it simply, Disney has just kind of bombarded us with Big Hero 6 episodes. They've just kind of like done like daily, and it was they kind of sprung this on us. And by the same token, they just kind of sprung this on us, and like it was like halfway through by the time I realized. So there's literally no way we could have coordinated it just going episode by episode. So we kind of had to bunch them together. We're kind of doing this in sort of a clump, sort of a team, kind of like a teaming of episodes, if you will. So we're gonna kind of go through them, and basically kind of the first week, and they went on a break for Mother's Day, I suppose, and then they're going to come back episode by episode for at least for a while. I don't know. Not sure if it's going to be like that for the whole season. They're just trying to speed through the season or whatnot, but at least for at least the next couple, at least the first 2 weeks of the show, it's going to be episode by episode. So.
Yeah, so for as long as we're going to be doing this, as long as Disney XD is going to be airing it this way, we're going to be covering it in terms of, for example, next week, episodes 6 through 10 are going to be airing, or by next week, I mean this coming week, I should say.
Yes.
And so next week we will be covering 6 through 10 on the podcast, and then if it's announced that there's going to be another week's worth of episodes, we'll cover said week's worth of episodes the following week. And we'll be doing that until the show goes back to a weekly format. And once the show goes back to a weekly format, folks, by all means, we'll cover them episode by episode like they should be. So, guys, with all that housekeeping out of the way, how are you feeling about this bunch of episodes?
I feel, I think it took a while to get back in the swing of things. I think we started off with some really, really good stuff. I feel I can't really say half, but I mean, like, basically there's a certain point within the 5 episodes where things really pick up. And it's not that things aren't good from the outset. It's that I think it takes a while to get back into the groove of Big Hero 6 because it's been a while. That make any sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it was the best idea to start the season on a Carmi episode.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Yeah, there's something off about it. Here's the thing. The thing that's off about episode 1 for me is that we put something into play via Carmi, but we're putting the ball into play with episode 1. It's just kind of a standard episode. And I don't feel that's the way you want to start a season because that's kind of the mistake they made.
At the end of the day, it's just kind of like this tired trope, like you said, Dragon. That we've seen it before, and the main character is just kind of acting petty the whole time, and that's really not the note that we want to be starting things out with.
Yeah, and it feels like, again, it's kind of like not learning from the mistake of season 1, where season 1, not that it's the same problem, but season 1 had an issue where, again, we kind of start with something that we kind of need, but something we don't. Basically, we start with, like, we recap the Big Hero 6 movie in the first episode. We kind of have an episode, it's essentially housekeeping. Like, okay, hey, here's where we left off. We're just kind of filling in some unnecessary blanks and just kind of getting the vibe for things. And in this case, again, we're doing something we kind of have to do by Carmi's going to be working at this place, but we've kind of taken something like, we kind of been there, done that story.
We
But,
did not need a whole episode for this.
Exactly, but don't get me wrong. There's some neat stuff like the opening, which we'll get into. Like there again, we have some basically kind of throwing some stuff and seeing what sticks to the wall with Internabout, and then basically the rest of it's just kind of like, okay, just kind of going through. We've set up Carmi, now we're just kind of living in it for an episode. Then we're going to actually do some story following this. So,
okay. With that being said, though, I like the dynamic between Hero and Cray in this episode.
Cray's always fun.
Point of the whole thing.
It's like, but you ordered cappuccino. Yes, but I meant frappuccino.
He meant frappuccino.
Good old Alan Tudyk.
Oh yes. Is there anything that Alan Tudyk can't do? Seriously?
I think I wonder if he can. Of course he can juggle. What am I saying? Of course he can juggle. Certainly.
He can definitely juggle these multiple roles he's doing.
Yeah,
and he never sounds exactly. It never sounds the same.
I'll bet you he can dance.
I wonder if Alan Tudyk rubs shoulders with Thor, the God of Thunder, on Fortnite.
He's new Master 69. Just kidding. Sorry.
Oh God. Wow. Anyways. But you know what? To be fair, though, I do think that throughout the especially Dragon, I think what you're getting at is 3 through 5 is where we start to get really interesting, especially the last couple, and we start to see an Obake like presence start to take form in the latter half of the run of episodes, and I'm excited where we're taking this villain. I gotta say, they're starting her out really strong. We're getting the ball rolling on her. I'm sorry, I can't quite remember her name, so please remind me.
Liv Amara.
Now she was introduced. The interesting thing to remember about Liv Amara, because she's going to be a big character this season, is that she was set up in the first season. Very interesting.
Yes, I remember her.
Yeah. And we kind of took a problem with her I had in the first season. We kind of fixed it here by, she's there and she's just kind of like, she's there specifically to see Hero. And then she could completely get sidetracked. And then, of course, like, why did she do that? And of course, we realized, well, she obviously has her own agenda. So that's why we now know that.
So I'm really excited about Amara as a villain. I'm not saying she's hitting Obake levels.
Not yet, at least. She's really not there yet.
But I do think that it's exciting that right out of the gate, this show knows what its strength is. And the best thing about season 1 was the Obake storyline. So right off the bat, we're getting another story of this insidious villain who's like kind of and what I like about it is that it's kind of like a better told, like, I almost feel like we're going to get a better version of the first movie, where the first movie was all about the mentor becoming the villain, and I feel like this is going to be I don't know, I'm just kind of like on the outset, I feel like this is going to be of course, because the whole dynamic of TV shows is that you get a longer amount of time to establish the characters. So it's not just going to go from like, oh, hey, Hero, you're welcome at this school, and Tadashi's my best student, to Tadashi made his choice.
It's not Krypton, Tiki. It's not. It's like Krypton had its chance. I don't know.
No, I'm sorry. That moment is like that. It's like, Tadashi made his choice to run into the burning building and save people. I have no sympathy.
God.
Now, don't get me wrong. I did like what we did with that character in season 1. The brief time that we did see him, he was very remorseful, and that was cool.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, but Tadashi made his choice.
Right.
Yep. I mean, Obake was kind of a chess master. Like, even when the plan didn't work out, he still had some gain.
I know, that's the thing. I love it when no matter what, Obake did not lose within the season. I mean, you may debatably till the very end, but that's the thing. Every setback never hurt him in the grand plan. That's what I loved about him most. He always walked away victorious, even after what seemingly was a defeat from Big Hero 6's perspective. Again, he was very much kind of a Ra's al Ghul type bad guy. I loved him so much, and I still do. And here's the thing. To me, the weird thing is I like, and again, I'm going to give it time on this, but I don't mean this in a bad way. I just mean that I I personally like Obake more, even though Obake was much more sinister. But I like him more than I do Amara. Amara's like one of those villains that you kind of love to hate in terms of like, oh man, I just want someone just to get that Liv Amara. I know she's up to no.
The thing I like about Amara, you're right, is that like she is kind of like this presence. I don't know, Dragon. I'm kind of digging the fact that Amara is different from Obake. Like Obake is kind of like the he's got that kind of purple man quality where he's the most charming man in the room. Whereas Amara like doesn't hide the fact that she's kind of like a cunning, like a cunning, just like elitist. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you know what I mean? Like she's very much like how she is, and yet she's able to socially manipulate people and kind of like maneuver through all these situations. And I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, she's all the.
I mean, it'd be kind of boring to have Obake 2.0.
Sure, but what I love about her and what's reflective of Liv Amara on the whole mix, are we going to break down the episodes like summaries, like kind of, like, are we just going to talk about it very, like, what are we going to do?
No, we're going to, I think we can break down the episodes.
Because I fear we'll get to, like, Liv, we thought we kind of build into Liv a little bit. But
okay, fair enough. Yeah. Let's just kind of go through the intern episode. I mean, there's not much to talk about with the intern episode.
Yeah, it stars Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro, and it's a really great movie. One could say Pleasantries the movie, and Tiki, you really got to see this movie. So speaking of the intern episode, no, but okay, Internabout. So Internabout, yeah. So of course, let's talk about the Phase 2 thing. I love the Phase 2 thing so much. It's a great runner.
It's really on the nose. It's on the nose, but it's one of those kind of things that I really like fourth wall humor, and that's like leaning on fourth wall.
I mean, Big Hero 6 is a Marvel property, so.
I think they can even go. I think they can run with it throughout the course of the season. I think we can get Fred talking about like Phase 3. Maybe we can even get some meta jokes about a snap or something like that.
Oh snap! Phase 3. But no, what's really great is I love that thematically what this season's all about does tie into Phase 2. It's a cheeky reference because it's a Marvel show. Technically, it's spun from a Marvel concept, and by the same token, it's again, like, of course, we live in an MCU era. But I love the theme and the runner of season 2 is we're upgrading villains and kind of the sophistication of the threat, but also the big recurring theme, at least in the first 5 episodes that I can find, mainly in the better back half of the episodes we're talking about today. I love that change and transformation is the theme. That is the recurring theme. Basically, of course, it ties into the literal sense with our bad guys upgrading themselves, but it's like they're all. They're all changing and transforming, and our characters are kind of like growing. So that's kind of a great little. They're all entering a Phase 2 of like their previous forms, an evolution, if you will.
That's a good way of looking at that.
Right. All right. So let's see. So Carmi, basically the main crux of the episode after kind of our awesome little thing with Fred there is Carmi and Heroes having that's kind of Carmi versus Hero with the internship wars, as it were. It's she's working for Liv Amar, who we introduced, and Hero is again is jealous of Carmi's recognition, and which leads him to be Kray's intern, which leads to being very underutilized, very undervalued as Kray's intern.
Like, don't ask about the cow costume.
What I like about this is that Kray, like, he knows how valuable a Hero is, but by the same token, he knows how undervalued interns are supposed to be. So there's this great kind of back and forth where he's clearly not treating Hero with the respect he deserves, clearly just because of the intern label.
And the thing I did like about the intern thing is it's a very true to life thing. Sometimes you can really luck out as an intern, rarely like Carmi, or you can get like the actual intern experience, which is Hero.
Oh yeah.
And I like that the thing we do set up here, and again, we'll see if they do anything with this. It might just be a one-off, but I don't know. Fingers crossed. Maybe this will come back. He has a contract with Kray, as in that's. That might come back. The fact that he tries to kind of part ways with Kray, and he says, "No, you're under contract with me for a year. So I mean, I got you your own lab, but also bring me a latte."
I have a feeling that's going to come back. I think that Cray is going to be kind of like a wild card this season.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to see him play a more active role than he did in season 1.
It does feel like a way of shaking things up. Okay, Cray's life's in danger for the umpteenth time. Someone's that Cray, but now in this case, well, no, now we have an actual reason to kind of involve Cray in the stories, but beyond beyond the same stuff. We're not retread. It kind of makes you secure that we're not going to retread the same stuff. So that's good. So speaking of some really cool, some old, here's some really cool stuff in episode 1 here. Noodle Burger Boy. Oh boy, I love the aftermath we have from the first season with this story.
I love how they continue making him kind of creepy.
He's super creepy in this. Super creepy.
Yeah, this has got to rank up there with some of the Gravity Falls stuff. Honestly, what do you think, Jacob?
I mean, I honestly wouldn't. I mean, I think it's more played for laughs here than it would be in Gravity Falls. I didn't think it reached as much horror or much terror, even as creepiness as it even did.
There's just something about Noodle Burger Boy with the voice and just kind of like the uncanny valley with the animation and the design that I don't like. To me, it honestly gets under my skin because it's like not supposed to scare you. You know what I mean? There's like almost like a reverse psychology to it.
I mean, I just thought more like it was more. It's like, I mean, of course it's supposed to be creepy, but I wouldn't say it reaches Gravity Falls levels.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, maybe occasional Star levels.
I love the in the aftermath of the first season. Love that idea. He was submerged with Obake's lair, and and Obake's been missing in action. And what we do here so wonderfully is we kind of have a sense of family here. And we kind of did this with Trina. We bring Trina back, voiced by the wonderful Krista Carlson Romano.
Oh, and Will Friedel's actually supposed to be guest starring later on this season too.
That is very exciting. I did not know that. I'm looking very forward to that. But the point being, I love I love that we have Trina coming back. I like the sense of family that Obake has built, and it's like kind of the father is now taken out of the equation, MIA for all we know. Again, hopefully he's going to come back at some point, but again, for all they know, he's a goner. And the fact that
belonging to Simba's pride.
Point being, I love that Trina is kind of the sister figure who's, she's trying to, she repairs herself. She souped herself up in a very Phase 2-esque body. And I love that she's kind of looking for a sense of a semblance of family with Noodle Burger Boy. They both have the Obake chip within them. They're both, by that logic, they're both family and they're both inventions of their father, and they're kind of banding together. And again, she takes on the duty of repairing her brother now that Obake's not around, and Noodle Burger Boy took it upon himself to go to Cray Tech, who, of course, that's what built him in the first place. So again, he's trying to it's kind of a sense of self-repair that I guess the ultimate message is that family is the self-repair. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they will see more Obake, or do you think he's truly gone?
If we're going to get Obake, it's probably going to be at the end of the season. I don't know how official a third season is, but I mean,
I believe a third season is official.
That's okay. That's good. Well, I think what we're going to do, if they're smart, I think we'll introduce Obake at the very end. Maybe we'll have like a ghost story episode somewhere where basically we wonder, is Obake back on a Teen Titans Slade style, maybe? But the point being,
there's one reason alone why I think that we're all forgetting here why Obake can't actually be dead. Right?
Oh God, this thing.
Because no one's ever really gone.
Yeah, you're starting to get my nerves with that. You really are.
I'm sorry. I saw the opening and I went for it.
Do it again. I'm going full Electra on this thing. I warn you. I will tank this thing with Electra.
Oh God. Anyway.
So where was I? Where was I going with it? Before you. Yeah.
Talking about Noodle Burger Boy and like the sense of family and all that.
Right. Well, the point is like Obake too. Like Obake, I imagine that we're going to bring him back at the end of the season. Like we'll show him at the end of the season. Maybe we'll flirt with the idea, like for one episode, like is he gone? Is he not gone? Then like okay, he's coming back, and then, of course, very end, like okay, Obake's back, and that's going to be season 3. Maybe we'll go kind of the Kingpin approach with him, perhaps. Fingers crossed. I don't know. All right, so let's see. So again, Hero. I like that. And very interestingly, something the payoff to season 1 is that Hero had to fill the role of repairing Noodle Burger Boy, which of course is kind of Hero becoming Obake in a sense. So that was interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
I get the feeling that Noodle Burger Boy is going to be the Iago of season 2.
oh, I mean, technically, you didn't even see him in these next few episodes.
You mean he's going to replace the snake?
I'm saying I feel like he now owes Hero a debt.
That would be interesting.
Like there's going to be some sort of sympathy there between the two of them.
Which, of course, drive conflict with Trina.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah.
So,
I don't know. Seriously, isn't it crazy that Iago, of all characters, had one of the most fleshed out arcs in an actual Disney trilogy?
Well, when you put it like that, I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
he's definitely one of the more fleshed out sidekicks.
Pretty much.
All right. Anyways, so on to episode 2, guys. I don't want to spend too long on
Yeah,
it.
I know. Yeah, so let's get that.
There's really not much else to talk about. We pretty much covered all the big things that could have season long impacts.
Right, so then we get to the 7th wheel,
featuring the return of one of our favorite villains from the first season.
Mobakase.
Yes.
Man, Mobakase is cool. I don't know how else to put it, man. She's cool. We
I remember her being one of our collective favorite villains, for the first season.
Yeah, she only came in once or twice, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they brought her back for the last one. I know she was in the Aunt Cass episode. She was in the food episode.
Food fight, I think.
Right, food fight, and maybe one other, but it was at least two appearances. Yeah.
And I think she was in. I think was she in Countdown to Catastrophe?
That's what I'm saying. I know she was in that one because they teamed up all the bad guys at the very end. So I'm just trying to think if she was in an additional one, but
I can't remember.
Anyway, point being, Momokase, she's back. We have we begin the Amara villain plot here, and we see her company, the Cigarettes. And Granville. So we do some fun Granville stuff in this episode too. We have Granville.
I love Granville in this episode, and you guys know that Granville is easily my favorite character created for this show. I don't know. She's just so much fun. I love how she's overbearing, but she's self-aware about it, and she knows it's a character flaw. But at the same time, she knows she can weaponize it and use it to her advantage.
It's she's the 7th wheel of the episode named.
Absolutely. So that's the thing. I love that she's.
I don't know. I freaking love the design of her little, of her little robot suit. Man, I love the colors on it. I kind of went nuts when I saw that.
Whatever. It's just a pache of all the other outfits. That's what she's just kind of slipped it on.
It's she's taking cues from all the others combined.
I just love the idea of this teacher that knows the identity of the Big Hero 6, but instead of wanting to be all oh no, that's your vigilantes and mine, you should be paying attention to school. No, instead it's the opposite. She's super into it, super enthusiastic about it, but it's so problematic at the same time. It's great. Honestly, I love this episode just as a standalone comedy episode, if anything else.
Yes. But Granville, she's both a help and a hindrance. But again, as you said, Tiki, she's very self-aware about it, which kind of leads to the whole DM me gag. Just DM me if you do.
Aware of both the pros and the cons of it, so that gives a fun give and take.
I mean, and at least it doesn't lead to a whole we have to tell her that she's being a nag kind of thing.
Basically, Tiki, you were speaking of the mentorship aspect of Big Hero 6 as a concept, and I think we get into that here, where the idea is that she learns kind of the lesson every teacher, every mentor has to learn, where you have to you have to put trust in your students that they're going to make the right choices, but also by the same token, you can only get involved to a certain extent before you start to compromise the creativity and the choices that are being made.
And if you guys remember, that's the problem she had with Bob Aiken.
Yep.
Which led to, of course, Obake.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that she actually is trying to strike a balance here.
Oh yeah.
She learned from her mistakes.
Hero, very interesting. The big moral of the story for Granville and Hero, I like that their story kind of feeds into each other. Hero he's basically allowing Granville like to interfere as much as she wants because again, like the last time he didn't listen to her led to kind of the catastrophe at the end of last season. So he's been haunted by that. So he's trying to learn from his mistakes. But I love how Granville kind of they kind of come to an understanding at the end of it where Hero should make his own. You should make his own judgment calls there, not just basically. You should make his own choices, not amend the one mistake that will compromise any choices he makes in the future. You can't just amend the one mistake and let that kind of rule like shadow and rule over all the choices you're going to make going forward. You got to find a balance. You got to make got to weigh things on your own. You can't just be slave to like I did this. I slipped up this one time. I can't just I can't violate this new constraints have been put on everything.
Yeah, that is a very valuable lesson to learn to control the expectations you set for yourself.
I love Momokase in action. We had some great shit. We had some great animation this episode.
And we find and we get to beyond that just more what Amara is capable of. Like she basically heightens Momokase's sharpness to a biological degree where it's coming out of her own body.
Yes, she's basically gives her kind of these death strike blades within herself. So yeah, that's very kind of Lady
very
Death
X-Men-like for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of, and also by the way, so I know we probably brought this up when we did the food fight episode, but it's been a while. So or whenever we saw Momokase for the first time. Point being, I just wanted to mention, Momokase, her name translates to something that essentially is trust the chef. And of course, we kind of homage in this with Cray for a moment. She hates it when people like tamper with the food that she's made. So the idea is like put your trust in the chef. So that's her name, and that was what her whole gimmick was about in the beginning. So that's really cool.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was kind of like her little quirk as a villain. That's fun.
And again, it's a pun on the name. That's what it translates to. Trust that's really cool. And
Dragon, honestly, I can relate to that because as a foodie, if there's stuff in the plate that I don't like, then I'm very hesitant to take it off. Right? Instead I'll just pass on it. Because I'm very OCD about okay, well the chef put this on for a reason, and if I take it off, that's gonna kind of throw off all the flavors. So I can totally understand that, even though I'm not a chef, as a connoisseur, as someone who likes to indulge in really good food from time to time, in food that might have certain ingredients that I might be allergic to or just not very partial to. You get what I'm saying. I get the analogy. It's a good analogy, anyways.
Something I wanted to mention with so the big thing that kind of gets cemented here that's going to be present in the other episodes, Livermore's signature, so to speak, is we begin phase 2 consists of splicing tech. That's a big thing. It's a big element of season 2 and the whole phase 2 concept. So basically, we're splicing our bad guys using these biotech upgrades. So that's kind of what brings Momokase to I call it kind of like a not Fox in the Kasune sense, but Fox in the I forget if they liken it to the same thing. I'm just mixing my mythologies here, but the idea is that I believe in the Japanese lore. It's been I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but I believe in the Japanese lore there was an old legend, an old myth of a woman, like a beautiful woman, cunning like a fox idea, like a beautiful woman who would transform into kind of like a fox, a very dangerous fox-like creature. Saw an animated thing on this one, so that's why I'm kind of in my mind, just thinking about the animation style and everything. Again, she's not looking super fox-like, but that transformation that she goes through, it kind of ache into something like that. I wonder if that was in any influence to kind of that idea of let's splice her and just make her look really monstrous and give her the long. They had those transformations they gave the fox-like creatures really the really sharp nails and really sharp claws and everything. So that's what made me kind of put the link there. But anyway, point being, this is it's really good animation on her in this transformation. She's awfully scary looking, don't you think?
Oh yeah, and she's kind of like a more scary version of Yzma.
In a way, it's kind of Wolverine meets Yzma.
Fun Yzma.
It's kind of Wolverine meets Lady Deathstrike meets Yzma, because she has kind of Wolverine kind of eyebrows and kind of the sideburns going on there.
Those fingernails are deadly. I mean, what she could do with their knives, she can now do with her fingertips.
I love the Cash Karoo runner, by the way. I love that we kind of have like this kind of this Venmo sort of thing built in here. So basically, she pays Amara so she can basically have the chip activated. Just kind of like a securing of the transaction there. So Momokaze is the big runner right now. Again, we don't go full villain with her until really episode 3. That's where we have the real reveal that Amara is our bad guy. But Amara right now, she's doing some shady stuff, which again we've seen Cray do some shady stuff, but more Cray, it's more like like poor business decisions than it is like evil villain or anything. But in Amara's case, she's wants funding for her work in general, but also potentially some big goal that we don't quite know. It's either a big goal or just generally wants to keep her work going. Which still she's like taking the ethics out of whatever she's doing. So that's kind of the takeaway there.
And from the looks of things, these procedures don't seem entirely painless.
No, they don't seem.
Because even Mama Kase was kind of like not necessarily screaming in pain, but kind of wincing or even cringing a bit when she was injected and all that.
Not painless, but they come with consequence, and they probably don't tickle.
Yeah, I mean, and from the look, and especially with considering some later episodes indicate, is like it has some major side effects.
Oh yeah. Pretty mildly. Also, I love the property, the private property gag where Baymax is just kind of like he says the PSA in the room here where they go to stop Momokaze and then they need the Baymax break the glass, but this is private property, and she just slices through the glass and then they give
But Baymax always has the best lines.
And we get one of your favorite things, Jacob. We get drunk Baymax in this episode.
He's like, "Hey, are you guys for serious?"
And of course, he's speaking Spanish because he has like his language. He speaks all sorts of different languages because his language, his chip is broken. It's
it's like, yeah, I always love seeing drunk Baymax or stuff like that, and then he speaks backwards.
I love the solution, but like Granville's like takes the chip out and she blows the dust and everything away and puts it back in and fixes everything.
And it works.
All right.
Okay, so on to episode 3 then.
Yes, Prey Date.
Okay, I got to admit, guys, there was one thing about this episode that was really distracting to me, and it was nothing to do with the episode. It was not the episode's fault at all. All right. My mentor in high school was, lo and behold, A1 Mr. Knox. So every time they said Mr. Knox in this episode, I kept getting flashbacks to high school, and it was weird.
Did you mention that at all when we had the?
I must have.
I don't think you did. I
don't remember you mentioning him when he first appeared.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I don't know. I'm sure I brought him up before on the podcast, but
anyway.
It's been like what, like several months.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying specifically the Big Hero 6 podcast, but I'm sure, like, at some point on the channel, I have brought up Nox.
Tiki, you've never brought up Nox to me, ever.
Really?
Ever? I mean, unless you did it on that podcast, then no.
About Nox?
Potentially outside of that one Big Hero 6 podcast, if you did it there, that'd been the only time
That's
you ever brought
crazy. That's crazy. That's wow. That man shaped that man is the reason why I'm a podcaster.
But you've never mentioned him by name, Tiki. But you've mentioned teachers, but you've never mentioned like Knox by name, because I would remember that because he Knox from Batman. I would remember that.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway,
yes. To my point though, I feel like we hear Mr. Knox way more than we do in the episode he's actually introduced in, because they're trying to calm him down. They're like, "Come on, Mr. Knox, come to your senses, Mr. Knox." And the funny thing about that is that Mr. Knox at my high school is still to this day known for having kind of this Jekyll and Hyde type personality that he can kind of turn on and off at will. And he's a drama teacher, so that kind of makes sense. But anyways, so just kind of like the whole I don't know, it was just fun. But yeah, what I like about this episode was I really do. It's going to sound kind of like a little bit shallow, but I really like the animation in this episode. The lighting was just very striking to me. Am I the only one who got that?
That's good lighting,
especially during the lockdown.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think their budget might have been increased for this season.
maybe.
I mean, at least it seems they're finding more creative ways to emphasize all this stuff. Or at least they're being more creative with some of their concepts, at least.
I'd go as far as say I know they had toys released with the first season, so maybe the toy residuals maybe helped that a little bit there. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, again, many shows animators live or die by the toy sales, believe it or not. So that's the thing. So that may have actually really helped the season. One, get a season two. Secondly, with the budget. So.
Anyway. And yeah, I don't know. I really like the design of the monster version of Nox.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen Nox. Yeah, this is we set him up in the previous season. Friend of the Fredricksons, I believe.
Yeah, we actually see him more up close here.
Yes.
I mean, original thing he was just like running away and just just causing general mayhem. Here we actually get to see him up close and actually learn more about him. And we learn why he wanted to find Liv Amara so badly.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh my God, you're right. And it's been a while since. Yeah, you're right. That is why he wanted to live on Mars. That's awesome. Yeah.
It just seemed kind of. I mean, retroactively, that makes that episode better, I guess, but it doesn't change the fact that upon first viewing of that particular episode from season 1, it just seemed kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Let's see. So of course, here's where we really pay off the Carmi thing, where Carmi is. We see Carmi thrust into a more active role in Liv's grand design here. Liv's kind of waking up, say, "Oh, I like this Carmi project, but oh my God, Carmi's actually really good at what she does here. I can use her biotech expertise down here in sub-level 10. And of course, initially to help cure Orso Nox, which I mean, eventually it does cure Orso Nox. Of course, there's definitely maybe he didn't even need to be cured in the first place, sort of idea.
Right. Which is something that we're going to explore with the next two villains that we get into. With I like that I like how episodes 3 through 5, especially. I mean, episode 2 dived into it as well, but episodes 3 through 5 really explored the whole concept of like villains reforming, villains trying to find a new path, villains regressing. The whole idea of kind of like taking on that identity as a monster, and you get what I'm saying. It's like there's some really deep, kind of nice social vibes there.
And to piggyback off of that thought, Tiki, what we really have here is with the hero plot. The hero is kidnapped by Nox, but he's protected by Nox's human side. Deep down within the monster they turn into. And importantly, I think the theme of all of this is kind of a lesson, and it's kind of never too late. But the more important lesson that's thematic and really connects to Liv Amara and basically the next two episodes is. It's like look beneath the surface of the situation. It's like look beneath the surface where monster on the outside, human on the inside. In case of Nox and Liv Amara, it's quite the opposite. So again, that's the thing. Liv Amara is going to do some monstrous things this season, at least based on the next couple episodes. She's doing some really really shady stuff, some really bad stuff. But again, she's all pleasantries and like, hey, let's do lunch. She's all pleasantries.
Let's do lunch villain, and I love that about her.
She is. I love how she is all pleasant and smiles and everything on the surface and woos, and that's great.
Better screen slaver. She's a better screen slaver.
Oh come on! Don't why just throw that in there? That's
because screen slaver sucks.
Oh come on! That is not. Come on, that's
she
not.
Sucks.
That's not entirely true, and you know it. That is not entirely true. Anyway.
Anyways.
You see what I'm getting at though with Liv Amara.
And I have our issues regarding our disagreements with Incredibles 2.
Yes, we're still in counseling, but anyway, so
pretty much, honestly.
Okay, well, speaking of the lighting and everything, the railway
Dark Knight Rises.
Anyway, so the railway setting and everything's really great for the action sequence, and I love it's like confined space, so we can really kind of corner Nox, and of course we have the gay work. We all hear is kind of the sane voice in the room. Guys, listen. There's Nox is still in there. There's like no one make any sudden moves, and of course Wasabi sneezes. I gotta tell you, I just kind of noticed in these first 5 episodes, Wasabi mainly this episode, and I believe this episode, and the next episode. Wasabi's kind of the weak link in the chain here. Not that he's bad. It's that Wasabi's really not helpful in the field anymore.
Yeah, and then he gets the episode where his weapons are malfunctioning. I forget
Yeah,
what episode that
That was
is.
the
that was the previous
that
one.
was the previous episode.
So there's that.
Okay, well,
There's this.
that kind of proves my point. It's like when his weapons are malfunctioning, it's kind of like, oh, womp womp, Wasabi can't work with functioning weapons this episode.
So yes, Wasabi. He's definitely.
Honestly, the red shirt is Go-Go. Like even more so than she was in season 1. I mean, Go-Go is just getting nothing this season.
And that's the. I really hope that changes.
5 episodes at least.
I really hope that changes, and I want Go-Go to get more to do, because again, that's a good character, and unfortunately, she's been consistent, but not necessarily. She hasn't really been stealing the spotlight. But then again, she might just be one of those characters that like she doesn't need to be in the spotlight. But I can't reveal too much here. Let's just say I think we're in good. We might be in good shape with her going forward.
Okay.
But,
Because
anyway,
Wasabi has like always just kind of been the doofus comic relief, and honestly, it's like I've never judged characters at all based on like, oh, their helpfulness to the team. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like I judge characters based on how likable they are. That's really all it comes down to.
So I still hate the Captain Cutie thing, by the way. Still hate it.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm kind of conflicted about it because I do like that dynamic. I like the fact that
Well, it's
so over the top obsessed with Hero in the Big Hero 6 form, but is I do like that. But the Captain Cutie thing ruins it. I wish they just.
The thing is, it's supposed to be cringeworthy, though. That's the thing.
Jacob, I know it's supposed to be cringe. You don't have to explain to me that it's supposed to be cringe, but just because something's supposed to be cringe doesn't mean it's good.
Well, I mean,
I'm totally dragging on this.
And the thing that bothers me, it's a twofold problem here. One, it's the fact that he's like every opportunity a hero would have to change that, he just hasn't taken the op. Why can't you just say no? It's not my name.
Exactly. Why can't he just be like, no, ma'am, my name is Robo Master? Or
basically,
something.
every time we have that Captain Cutie gag.
Well, technically, he did try that early in fan friction, but she never really listened to it.
Well, depending on was that Hero saying or was that him in the suit saying it's not my name? That's the difference, though. If Hero said that, it's not gonna have hold any water.
I think he's just rolling with it at this point. There's no point in trying to change her mind in that regard.
Okay, well, the main point is every time we do that gag, whether you like it or not, the point is, or whether it's intentional or not, the real problem that gets illuminated is, again, we're dealing with identity, and the show still is not taking a stand. Like, are we going with names? Are we not going with names?
Yeah, exactly.
Some, Fred's kind of taken to a few names.
Yeah, Fred's got some weird, alternating path lines with his names.
That's the thing. We gotta commit to we can't just call Honey Lemon Tall Girl. We gotta give them names.
Tall Girl.
Remember, she's still stuck with Tall Girl.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Every time we do a stupid name joke, it illuminates the problem and also illuminates the thing. Man, Carly's still she can cure Knox, but she still just can't literally look him in the face and just put two and two together. Really, we have a great solution to it with Go-Go later on, but we don't do that with anyone else. Really?
Yeah. At the end of the day, folks, honestly, guys, this is one of the reasons. Let's be honest, this is one of the reasons why. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to speak for you guys, but this is one of the reasons why. I have fun with this show for sure, and I feel like this show is a great extension of the movie, and it makes me appreciate the movie more. But man, some of this childish stuff kind of drags it down a little bit. It is nowhere in the same league as something like DuckTales.
I would. Well, again, I mean, I've seen the first season of DuckTales, so I can kind of get a sense of what you're saying there. So I mean, I get where you're coming from. I know that fully.
Nowhere in the same league. That's a little harsh because Obake is a great arc.
That's what I'm saying. That's where things get a little messy when you make that comparison.
But I don't know. I just think from an episode by episode consistency level, I don't know, man. It's I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to crap all over this show here at all. I'm just saying there's kind of a reason why I didn't want to commit to talking about each episode individually. I feel like sometimes the episodes just kind of and like you said, Dragon, the Captain Cutie thing and the naming issue, it's one of those things where it doesn't give me a lot of faith that the writers I feel like the writers do villains really well, but I feel like the arcs of the characters throughout the season are a little less satisfying.
And again, it's still kind of it's still kind of at its beginning, and things have definitely picked up in the next two. But before we get to the next, one last thing I want to point out. So specifically, I love the reveal of this is where we get the official reveal of Amara as the villain. But I love that we reveal like Knox gives this really nervous looking press conference, and you see he looks really on edge, and he's scratching his arm and everything, saying, "Yes, I'm glad to be back to normal." And of course, he's like with Liv Amara on the stage, and he's looking very and he was giving the donation very publicly to Amara. And he's looking very uncomfortable with it. Where he should be happy-go-lucky about everything. And we have the reveal where this is where oh my god, just like Amara saying, "Remember, I can turn you back. I can turn you back anytime I want." So, oh my god, she's basically we reveal she's blackmailing investors and her subjects. And basically, that's where the Amara equation starts to really become clear here. Where she's less honorable than to me. She's a little less honorable, and I don't mean this in bad way. I mean this is how she's in contrast here. She's less honorable than Obake operates. Like Obake is pretty straightforward with how he operates. Liv Amara,
in a way, she's a bit more subtle and insidious than he is.
Pretty much, and that's the thing. Where again, like she's all about again, she's playing the business angle where Obake never had to play the business angle. He was the creative, where she's playing the full game.
And like she keeps herself out in the open too. She's kind of like a Lex Luthor almost. Like she keeps herself out in the open, but behind the scenes she's trying to do all this stuff.
And again, so far, as far as I can tell, like she hasn't come across any real losses. So again, that's the one thing she does have in common with Obake. But by the same token, it's like Obake. I guess the difference is kind of hard to find the difference here. But I think Obake, he never had a setback. He had basically the difference is Obake had a grand plan he was building towards. That we knew he was building towards something. We didn't find out till close to the very end. Her, we still have no idea what the end goal, like why she's quite doing things, really, if she has something on the horizon. I'm not saying that's detracting from her. I'm saying so far that's the main difference, is that she's just like kind of the cutthroat businesswoman who's like she's just doing some really terrible things to keep her company afloat and maybe funding a big project, but maybe not. It might just be it for her. She's a really terrible person that no one's stopping.
Wherever she's funding, she definitely needs a lot of money for it.
Well, yeah, that just might be the cost of doing business. That's just like how that's why she's probably the most successful in the biggest name for right now. Again, she's kind of the hero to San Francisco, but by the same token, again, hero. But again, she's the hero, but really deep down, what the cost of her heroics, of course, are very, very treacherous and very. Because that's the thing. I can't wait till one point in this season. I want them to get to the scene where they have like a Lex Luthor encounter, either a Lex Luthor or maybe even a Kingpin encounter, where they come across her. And they confirm like you're bad, you're going down here. And we almost have like I'm thinking of like a scene from American Alien, Tiki, where they have like Superman goes to stop Lex Luthor, and Luthor just kind of confronts like, well, what? You broke my window. I can sue you right now.
Right. Like kind of like Luthor's throwing like the real politics of like this is how it works, Soups. Like you don't get to just like come in here and like this is my territory, and I like.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is with Amara, we would have a thing of like, well, what have I done wrong? I've been helping, been helping rebuild the city and everything, and like I bad guys. I mean, they did that of their own volition. They wanted improvements, but they're funding the greater good. So what am I doing wrong here?
The funny thing you should get there's actually checking up some future episode synopses, and one of them actually is called Lie Detector, where Hero and Baymax actually try and get close when Hero discovers that Baymax kind of works as a living lie detector.
That makes sense because you can read the heartbeat, so that makes sense.
So he's basically from the sun, and apparently he tries to catch Liv Amara in a lie.
That could be interesting. I'm looking forward to that one. All right, so let's get to the next episode. Let's get this. To me, might be I love episodes 4 and 5, but I think 4 is on a rewatch kind of became my favorite.
I kind of agree with you. Like honestly, these two weren't bad in season 1, but I feel like the overhaul, the phase 2 of it all was really creepy, really satisfied. I mean, you got to admit, like that scene of them eating the eels, Jacob, that is genuinely Gravity Falls levels of creepy.
I'll definitely give you that. That's the first
Like,
sign we
it's just
definitely
like,
see where
oh my god, like, what is going on here? Jesus Christ!
as I pointed out earlier, that's pretty much the first time where we realize like maybe there's something off about what Liv Amara is doing to this, just beyond the whole body modification thing. There's something definitely off about what she's doing.
Oh yeah, so this episode's a big kind of Spider-Man homage in many respects, and in two ways. It's Spider-Man homage, and then we take a classic Spider-Man plot line with you know, like the old heroes kind of set up on essentially a blind date, which of course is the introduction to Mary Jane in the Spider-Man comics. It's like my aunt once set me up with like, you know, with a girl with a great personality, like, oh god, I'm going to avoid her like the plague, that sort of thing. Of course, you know,
Let me
at
guess,
least
you have a
face
great. Let me guess, you have a great personality.
it. And the other thing this kind of parallels, very literally, one could say, is that with the electric eels and everything, and it feels very spectacular Spider-Man with the Electro origin now. I don't mean I don't mean it just has to be electric because it's electric eels, but by the same token, it has like that spectacular Spider-Man flair where that anime show is so good because it had the complexities with the villains and you know, showed the real motivations and everything. You know, just that we kind of do a lot of that here. It's a lot of spectacular and just kind of classic Spider-Man in this episode. I think that really kind of helped elevate, especially on a rewatch.
And it's kind of interesting to see all those parallels, as you said. Like it's kind of in a way, these two high voltage is kind of like the redeeming villains in a way.
Yes,
like,
and that's yeah.
Not to the same pathos as like Doc Ock or anything, but the notes of it are there.
Let's see. I guess so. Again, starting with Hero, you know, he's being set up by Aunt Cass on that kind of blind date or blind lunch, I guess we should call it, with Megan and Tiki. I know there. I'm gonna set this up here. Assuming Tiki hasn't looked into it, there's a special reason why this is Tiki's favorite. And he didn't even know it. There's a special thing that there's a special little reference, special Easter egg, I guess, in this episode.
Wait.
One of the characters.
Really? Tell
It's
me.
gonna blow Tiki's mind when we get to it.
We'll get to it. Okay. Stretch it out. Leave me in suspense. Why don't you?
All right, so she's going to lunch with Megan, and let's see. So we have a lot of great comedy in the start. At the start, by the way, we're just like,
okay, Megan was the name of my high school girlfriend. So again, with the weird high school parallels.
I wonder if McCorkle and Schooley were following you, Tiki. Maybe that's.
Oh,
like, hey, Mark, take notes. Take notes. I'm writing as fast as I can. He's doing stuff. Do it. Duck behind the bushes. Duck. Anyway.
Yeah, that would be kind of strange. Maybe you'll find some other parallels.
Yes. Let's see. So we had some Baymax comedy, and we also have Chameleon Fred. Man, I like Chameleon Fred's design.
Yeah, Chameleon Fred is a lot of fun. And that was a great opening scene of him just kind of like testing out his powers in the lab. That was like classic Big Hero 6 right there.
It seems like Chameleon Fred might become a mainstay.
Well, he basically has an extra suit he can shift between, because I think he kind of goes a little back and forth. I don't know. Well, bear in mind, I'm trying to think of it now. Yeah, I think he goes back and forth. I think the next episode he's back to the regular Fred suit, if I'm remembering correctly. So you know, he's kind of shifting around a little bit.
Like maybe they'll bring out Fred Chameleon for like stealth missions.
Yeah, exactly. He has a stealth suit. That's just,
even though Fred and stealth usually don't go so well together.
Not really. Of course, with the suit upgrades, we have stuff like that. And we have Go-Go, who basically again, the first step to a big stemming problem is that, well, she can. Richardson Mole, he's recognizing Go-Go, and she puts like this little tinting on the helmet, and so it solves the problem. It's like, yes, that's a great idea. Why haven't we been doing this from the start or something? I don't know.
Because remember, he had a thing for Go-Go.
Yes, and that's great.
And
the animation was better on him too, by the way, on Richardson Mole. I don't know why. I just like the animation. Basically, I love that montage, but the stakeout montage was a little clever idea where they're all just kind of again, this is a smart move. They're all anticipating high voltage to go for Richardson Mole's energy orb, which is what they went for last time. So they're just kind of staking out the place with this fun montage, just waiting for two people who aren't going to show up, and it's like, we will take those smoothies. Like, it's funny.
Mundane, the mundanities of life.
Yep, to quote Brad Bird, the fantastic and the mundane. All All right, let's see. So yeah, Amara. Okay, so Amara really comes alive in this episode here.
Oh, yeah.
Amara, one, she has all the fun pleasantries and like kind of the teamwork philosophy. Where she's all like, oh, she broke high voltage, which consists of Barb and Juniper out of prison, and they're all grateful and everything. Oh, thanks for breaking this out. Hey, girls got to stick together. Woo! And of course, like,
It's interesting that she uses that as her leverage. Like she has them in her pocket, and like she can just easily just like I got you out. I can easily just send you back.
Like, what about girl power? We wooed. Well, woo aside, you know. And of course, the fact that we're like, we'll just tell them you broke us out. Well, again, who are they going to believe? I donate money to the police. Again, very Kingpin-esque. I like it. I don't know. So basically, the idea, as far as I can tell, she's stealing more funding. She wants villains to kind of steal money for, and basically, kind of help fund her research continually. And that's kind of the plan. And basically, and really ingeniously, and this is the great thing about Liv Amara, she again, she has a solution where no, you don't need to get that same energy orb again. It's like saying, hey guys, we're not going to retread season one. We have a new plot line this season. We're okay.
Phase 2.
Yes, phase 2 of it all here. We're going to give you eel implants, which basically gives you the electrical charge, all the electrical charge you'll ever need. It's all purple and stylish, but of course, comes at a cost.
It has a bit of a as I pointed out earlier.
Minor setback, like you guys know those commercials, when you're watching those commercials for those drugs, and it's like, warning, side effects may include death, nausea, bleeding, internal stomach reactions, thoughts of suicide, blackouts.
Yep. And
in case it's like side effects include electrical powers, body mutations, and possibly becoming a fish.
And eating excess fish, yeah.
Yes.
So what I love about this too, by the way, so I love visually what we do there is that it is quite ingenious, and again, it's a plan that it's with Amara. We see the lacking humanity theme, where again the idea is like these guys have all the power they want, like Amara, but of course they're losing their humanity. In their case, it's like a visual way they're losing their humanity. With Amara, again, she's kind of lost humanity and kind of like doing this without thinking about like the side effects or anything. Like I think that's Amara's edge. I think it's kind of what they're saying about it with this episode. That again, she's made all these breakthroughs and she's made all these compromises, and making these compromises and just kind of disregarding the effects on people and like the ethics of these things. That's what she's lost, and that's why she's more successful than Cray. Cray still has to operate within the law. But it's something like crazy guy is he's either gonna operate within the law or he's gonna operate in a relatively harmless way. It's some people might get fired, but that's about it. It's like not gonna really go that super far.
Or at least in the cheapest way possible.
That seemed like the worst thing Cray's done was, again, he kind of funded the project. He accidentally got, Callahan's daughter sent to that. That was like the worst thing that he's done. But again, it was an accident. He didn't like it, and he felt bad about it. Like he didn't cover up. That's the worst. Again, he's more like big business. But again, it's like stuff that it's not surprising. Not like secret labs where really bad stuff's going on. That's the difference.
But Liv Amara, on the other hand, she's basically messing with people's body structures.
And the more monstrous thing to me with all this, and again the whole theme of change, and basically the theme of change and seeking normalcy, is that High Voltage, they were broken out of prison. They were all like, no, we're not going to go back to villain. They wanted out of this situation because they've had time to reflect on their actions. They've actually rehabilitated, at least on the path of rehabilitation. And Amara ruined their lives. That's the truly monstrous thing that she's done there, where she took away the humanity, she took away like their choice and forced them to this, and just kind of corrupted that whole rehabilitation process. They just wanted a normal life. They just wanted like his mother and daughter to go to the movies and go to lunch and stuff, and just all of that just kind of got thrown out the window. I thought that was very fascinating.
Yeah, and then it's like the first hint at that is when they decide to rob the fish truck.
Yep.
Which, in hindsight, actually is really pretty disturbing. I mean,
yeah.
Though not as disturbing as the reveal at the end, though.
I know. I love the reveal at the end. That's that's the reason I think this episode might be my favorite out of the 5 so far. So Hero and Megan. Let's talk about Hero and Megan.
She's pretty interesting. It seems interesting so far. I mean, if we see more of her, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Especially if her dad, with her dad being a cop and all, that could drive some conflict.
Tiki. Okay, real quick. So we're talking about Megan's father here. So Megan's father is Chief Cruz. Now, Chief Cruz is voiced by someone we know,
Okay, hit me.
Nestor Carbonell.
You know, it's funny because I kind of, when I was watching it, I was like, huh, that voice sounds familiar, but no, it can't be. It can't be.
It's
It
senior,
can't be.
senior, junior.
Oh dear. Yes, and of course, folks, I go back from Nestor Carbonell. I go back to the ye olde Lost days, back when Nestor Carbonell was first directing episodes of TV shows on Lost.
And Jacob, every time you mention it, I'm so glad you did because time to time I keep forgetting Nestor Carbonell voiced one of the funniest characters you can possibly voice in your senior.
Like, I need the gel for my hair.
Father.
Oh,
Oh, God bless Nestor Carbonell. Nestor Carbonell, what can he do? He's a director. He's a writer. He's senior, junior. He's Batman well on the tick. What can he do? Romero from Bates Motel.
The mayor of Gotham City. So he's in politics. He has that going for him.
Oh yeah, this Nestor Carbonell is absolutely wonderful. That makes me really excited about this character because one, I mean, again, it's a little bit of a Gwen Stacy nod with the father who's
it is. I can see that.
And of course, maybe again, like fingers crossed. Maybe a bit of a Jim Gordon arc. I'm just throwing that out there. We'll see where it lands. He does have a mustache. Well, he's a mustache or a goatee. The point is, the man has facial hair. So
that's always the dichotomy for a Jim Gordon is if they have the mustache or not.
I think he just has a goatee. Now I'm thinking about it. But the point is, he's got facial hair to start. Anyway, so
I have a mustache.
So Hero and Megan as a whole, they're a nice couple. They have chemistry. You see any romantic leadings there? They're just friends. Like either way, I think.
No, I think that they're definitely more of a potential couple than Carmi and Hero are, honestly. Or either that, or it's going to be played as like. And again, honestly, I kind of don't like to speculate on these like will they, won't they type things in these types of shows.
Well, should get on the plane.
Well, I'm just saying we're not the audience for this. You know what I mean? It's like when I talk about shipping on kids shows, I feel a little weird. But like, I don't know, if I were to make a prediction about it, I'd say that maybe Megan's going to be like an obstacle for Carmi and Hero to get together, and all the big Carmi and Hero shippers are going to be devastated at first. But then it's going to be a ruse, guys. It's going to be a ruse. And then by the end of the season, it's going to be like, gotcha. They got back together all along.
I can tell you a lot of shipping stories from Avatar and Legend of Korra, but anyway.
Oh boy, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, so with Megan, I love the parallel we have to our villain story and with Hero's story. And I thought, again, I love it when they can tie in the parallels like this, where the idea is that Megan is trying to give Hero a normal life. She's trying to, the idea Aunt Cass kind of set him up or try to get kind of a lunch thing going. So Hero could kind of hang out with someone else and just kind of do some fun stuff and not just be obsessed with schoolwork or superheroing unbeknownst to Aunt Cass. And again, I love that. Again, seeking normalcy is the parallel to the mother and daughter couple who are trying to seek normalcy within themselves. And basically, the idea is both go belly up. And Hero's making the attempt, but obviously things are going to get in the way. So I thought that was some good storytelling. And of course, the last shot. Wasabi really dropped the ball. By the way, I just want to mention that here too. Like Wasabi just superly dropped the ball where they're saying like, "Oh God, we're monsters." Like, yeah, you kind of are. It's like Wasabi, you're not helping.
Come on, not cool, Wasabi. Ooh,
ew. At least he knows. Like, I shouldn't have said that.
Know your audience, man.
We have also the gummy bunnies. The gummy bunnies saved the day. They helped save the day.
You go, Honey Lemon.
Also, the running gag with Fred. Fred nailed the eel theory. Everyone's like, Go saying, no, the eel thing is stupid. It's not what happens. Like, forget it's not electric eels. And of course, absolutely they were. Like, oh my God, they were powered by it.
Okay, it's eels.
That's great. Speaking of which, that brings to I think one of the best things on a rewatch of the episode. Man, that tank ending's awesome. Where Liv Amar again, she stripped away the humanity of these two people trying to get on the straight and narrow and just put them in a tank. Stripped away the humanity completely. And she has that great imposing shot where she's just looking straight dead on, like she's going to keep on doing this. With the eels that were in the tank have now been replaced with like her new, electric eel minions. Like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
All right, last one.
Okay, let's get to Nega-Globby.
Nega-Globby.
Yeah, gotta go up.
Okay, so wait. So it's globby, but it's negative globby, and it's kind of like an opposite form. Nega-Globby.
Yes.
Yes, I wonder if Reverse Globby was on the docket.
Into the creative process of one Fred Fredrickson.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Nega-Globby. I like this one a lot, honestly. This one to me was another. It was another good standalone in the sense that, like, we knew that Globby wasn't just gonna like we like Globby and his powers too much for him to just instantly go back to being human and just not revert back. So in that way, I do feel like it's among the more fillery episodes. Well, you know, at least in terms of the A plot and the B plot with the Amara stuff, we get some really interesting details, and we'll get there very soon. But I don't know. I really enjoyed Globby in terms of like it feels like a nice self-contained story for him, but by the same point, I feel like it's a good kind of jumping off point into some bigger, better storytelling with him in season 2. So I'm excited.
I like how it actually kind of makes you feel sympathy for him. It's like for a while he was a bad guy, the bad guy. Then I felt I felt him with Big Hero 6 and saved the city, and he felt like a hero. And now
Yes.
it's like, what is he gonna do now? It's like he's just a guy trying to find a job.
Oh God. Okay. You know what this reminds me of, Jacob?
What?
Would you care to explain Buff Frog to Dragon?
It'd be
I'm sorry, Buff Frog?
Buff Frog.
Buff Frog.
He's from Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Ah.
It's like
Jacob, explain Buff Frog.
like I'll try and keep it short. In season 1, he was one of the main minions of the antagonist of that season, Ludo. At the end,
voiced by Alan Tudyk.
yes, who also voices the King River in that series.
Uh-huh.
It's like at the end, Ludo gifted Buff Frog with some eggs, with some tadpoles. As in, like he found some tadpoles and he gave them to Buff Frog. And after that, Buff Frog after Ludo's defeat, he pretty much gave up trying to be evil and tried to raise them as his own kids, basically. And throughout the remaining 3rd and 4th season, he actually grows up with his kids, actually now more on the side of being a good guy.
And Dragon, let me tell you, these scenes with this buff henchman frog monster guy and his little tadpole babies are freaking adorable. Especially his little Katrina.
And yes, he does have a Russian accent.
Yes, he does have a Russian accent. Yes. My little Katrina.
He's mystery.
Dragon, let me put it this way, Dragon. Like Star vs. Force of Evil, definitely not your type of show. But I think if you looked up a compilation of Buff Frog clips, I think it'd be worth your time.
I see.
Anyways.
Anyway. I mean, my script really didn't do it justice because I had to keep it short for
this. But I'm just saying with Buff Frog, I feel like it's up Dragon's alley in terms of sense of humor, because Buff Frog is all about like pleasantries and subverting expectations of like the big buff henchman guy, and like kind of like the henchman guy is like actually a huge sweetheart underneath.
He's up your alley.
Right. Okay. So this episode's all about rehabilitation, and it's basically a rehabilitation story with a happy ending for a change. And I really like that. Where Globby, after his turn to hero, because he's kind of turned very heroic at the end of the last season. I love that we continue where the ball left off on that. And we kind of get a sense of Globby where we have this scene where kind of he's going through his phone here, we see all these images, and we see Globby was a guy who's kind of a no-name criminal who kind of found a sense of family with Obake, and then of course that transitioned to to kind of finding a sense of family with the Big Hero 6 who created him in the first place. So Globby is now, after turning hero and dealing with all that stuff, he's dealing with the mundane question about what next. What do I do now? And he's trying to go essentially, yeah.
That's like one thing I really like about it's remember how when he first started off, he was like this joke villain that we didn't know. He started out like joke villain. Okay, if we don't see more of him, we won't complain. Remember?
Yep.
And then now he's he's become a cornerstone of this series that we sort of says that we actually like him now.
Yeah, we have this great thing. So Globby again is just dealing with the mundane question of what next, which leads into this into the Noodle Burger Boy job interview scene with by the way, this new recurring character I'm loving, Sarah, who's also voiced by Jennifer Lewis, the Granville's voice actor.
Uh-huh.
So I love that Sarah's this poor manager, because we also had this hysterical scene with Sarah and Noodle Burger Boy a couple episodes back where she's like, Noodle Burger Boy, you're back. She's just, oh, you are home. It's just, oh god, it's point being, it's just that Sarah's a fun character, just kind of this put upon character dealing with all these crazy, especially these crazy villains, oddly enough, and your heart goes out to Globby, because Globby's making the genuine effort, but his physical form is kind of a hindrance here, so he's making a good faith effort to change, but it's kind of like a Clayface idea, where Clayface, it's the ability that you have to hone, and again, there's always things that can go wrong, and it's just going to make it hard to re-enter life, unless something changes.
It's just a shame that Globby can, actually appear to look human.
That's the thing. Like Globby's had even more of a disadvantage. He's kind of a cross between like a Sandman and a Clayface situation. Only he can't maintain a solid form.
At least Clayface can at least look like other people.
Well, he can. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of a exactly. So it's right. So Globby's really at a disadvantage. So it's and again, yet another story about a struggle for normalcy and change, where again Globby's doing with the change, but again he's also striving for normalcy. Again, big kind of parallels, recurring themes that are really committing to the theme this season. That's what I'm really appreciating about season 2 so far. Like they know what story they're telling, seemingly from out the gate. Where again we're not just quite. Basically, the through line was kind of building through Ibaka, and then Ibaka kind of took over the main plot of the series. That's kind of what was happening in season 1 here. It's like from the get go, they know what they're doing. It would seem.
Okay, I gotcha.
And the parallel of man versus monster continues.
Yes, there's a little bit. There are a few shades of this man, this monster from the Fantastic Four. I got to be honest, a few shades of it. That's all.
It's like Nega-Globby, as we pretty much see, is pretty much what would happen if Globby, if he didn't have like a human, if he didn't have a moral center. He's just like be a mindless killing machine.
And one could say again, in losing the humanity, another reflection of Livamara.
It's kind of interesting that I don't really think about these things at first, but when you bring them up, it makes so much sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at least I hope that's the intention of them, and not just a bunch of happy coincidences, because it's been known to happen before.
I love Aunt Cass gives Globby the pity job, and I think it's just Maya Rudolph being awesome. It's just like, oh, that's just because basically he demonstrating his ability as kind of a cafe waiter or barista, I guess. He's like putting foam on the coffee, using his powers. It's like, oh, that's sweet, but also kind of disturbing.
Would you drink that?
Yeah, we have. Well, bear in mind, he has like the ability to make like it would be disconcerting for sure. Yeah, but I mean, I assume his abilities work. But again, we don't know that. But it's like, oh my god, this giant purple glob guy he did something to my food. Oh my god!
It's like I ordered green tea. This is purple and gelatinous.
Is this FDA approved? Who made this? I didn't order Jello tea. What is this? It's not happy hour. Anyway.
Oh jeez.
So we have also some comedy. I love like Baymax, the Baymax Globby hug. By the way, it's like just Baymax all for. There's a lot of hug comedy this season because you have like Baymax and Honey Lemon giving the hugs and just like slopped up in the gunk of Globby.
Oh no.
But I love Honey Lemon in this episode. Honey Lemon really shines in this episode because, of course, we continued the idea that Honey Lemon is very supportive of her creation, and another parallel I found here between Honey Lemon and Livamar, and just in the whole, like another thing is that Honey Lemon takes responsibility for her creation, her again surrogate child. If we're doing the whole, Noodle Burger Boy and Katrina being brother and sister, again her surrogate child, so to speak, her creation. She's taking responsibility for him, and she tries, and she cures him, and she succeeds. She admits, she admits. And I love that Globby, though, he admits his own fault. Like, no, I stole the thing. It's not your fault. It was me. But again, she's taking responsibility for him. Livamara, she creates Nega-Globby. She sneaks in. She has her how do you guys feel with the Chrysistin joke? I think it's kind of dumb.
It's dumb, but it kind of goes like the whole. It is kind of dumb, but it kind of goes with the whole like, oh, you know, look at me, I'm a jokester. Ha ha ha! How could I possibly be evil?
Yeah. Anyway, that so the Chris steals the sample and creates a Nega-Globby, and I love this. So basically, this is a big telling moment. This is the difference between Obake, but I love this. Again, it's kind of Obake, but again through the Amara filter. Again, it's an original thing here where Amara creates Nega-Globby, and basically Nega-Globby escapes, and like, should we go after him? It's like, no, it's not our responsibility anymore. It's like, it was a dead end anyway. Like that sums her up in a nutshell, right? She says it was a dead end anyway, has no benefit to her, so she doesn't care. It just got out, so the Big Hero 6 or whoever will deal with it. So that's like, she's not taking responsibility for her creation. That's the difference. Where Obake did take creation, he did take responsibility.
It's basically a classic "you have outlived your usefulness" kind of thing.
Exactly, but it is like the most self-interested business sense of that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, where she pretty much just like, it's not useful anymore. I don't need it. Like, she just casts it aside. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris or something starts to question her more, that she'd throw him out.
We'll see. I don't know if, like, so far, based again, bear in mind we're still in the infancy here. He doesn't really strike me as one of those characters, but we'll see. I think he's just more of a gag, but it might go that way.
I mean, I know. I mean, she's probably not gonna amount to more. I'm just saying it's just an example because
Yeah, sure.
it just it seems that if it's not useful to me, she just casts it aside. Like, it's not useful to me. Just get out of my sight.
All right, so we got to talk about
I mean,
Felony Carl,
it'd probably be more accurate to say Carmi in that regard.
of course. Hey, Tiki, what do you think about Felony Carl? Jacob, let me toss it to you. How do you feel about the Felony Carl scene? Because of course I love Felony Carl. I can't get enough of DJ Bader's Felony Carl. It was a hysterical scene. What do you think?
But I always love seeing Felony Carl. He's always such a delight. And he's like, I always love seeing him in the first season as well. Like, seeing him here again is like seeing his friendship with Globby and like him reassuring him and all that, all the while still kind of like talking through his brutal honesty and all that. It's always Felony Carl's always fun to see.
Yep. All right, so let's see. Just with yeah, I love that Globby's dealing with a really relatable thing here, where he's having second thoughts and he's going through the adjustment period, and he's
I mean, it's almost like a withdrawal kind of thing.
in a way, yeah, but it's also like, it's kind of questioning what's special about himself. Though I love that Felony Carr is very supportive. He's very honest as well. But I love he's saying, "You're in a safe space. It's all right." It's really, it's really fun. Of course, he sticks him with the. He's very supportive. Yeah, he sticks him with the check. But again, he's sticking with the check for lovely reasons. I'm going to meet a guy about a thing. That guy is my dad, and it's his birthday. So oh my God, I love Felony Carl. He cares about it. Felony Carl rocks, man. I can't get enough.
I just wondered how Globby would pay for that. Like, where does he have leftover money or something, or just the logic behind the thing? But like I said, Felony Carl he's always looking out for Globby. Like, even when he was a Glob monster, he was always looking out for his friend.
Yep, and I love the idea that these guys kind of hang out on the weekends and everything. Just felt it's almost like a little Seinfeld going on there. It's like Jerry and George having these cafe meetings, these conversations. Like, Felony Carl and Dibs just kind of hanging out, or Felony Carl and Globby just like, oh, so how was your weekend? I don't know, can't complain. I don't know.
I'd kind of like to see something, like a show where villains gather in a bar and talk about things.
Oh God, yeah! If they ever did that Flash show, man. Again, for years I was always pitching like a Flash show from the Rogue's perspective when they would hang out in the cafe and do all that sort of stuff. Oh boy, I mean, it's we haven't quite done that on the Flash quite yet, but we've seen them kind of hang out in a bar sometimes, but not like they're not really all hanging out. It's like we established anyway. So I'm trailing off into the Flash right now, but let's talk about so Dib's big sacrifice. So again, we have Globby in his human form. It's kind of like a Fantastic Four moment from the first Fantastic Four movie moment almost, where it's like Ben Grimm is cured, but you know what he has? He's got to save his friend, so he bites the bullet. So Dibs makes a big sacrifice. He recreates his origin, by stealing the purse, and he's kind of basically gets hit by all the basically breaks the purse, so he gets hit by all the chemical balls, simultaneously recreating Globby.
So he can save Big Hero 6 from Nega-Globby.
Yes. And yeah.
And the result is a pretty actually very impressive kaiju like battle.
Yes, it is. It is really. It's really well animated too, and of course, we have our different kind of forms of glob, and of course, it's really kind of a shape shifting bout, as it were. It's really impressive, and interestingly, Globby seemingly dispatches, because thanks to Honey Lemon's assistance, because basically she throws a lot of little kind of cure balls at the guy, and it starts to defeat him, but not all the way because she runs out. And then Globby goes in for the finishing kind of blow where he eats him, and that may not have been the best course of action, because at the end, basically, we have this really lovely end scene where I love. And this one time, it has a happy ending for a rehabilitation story, because I can't tell you how many Batman episodes usually end in tragedy with this sort of thing. And we have a moment where, Globby is kind of recognized as like a local celebrity. Like, hey, here's the guy who helped out Big Hero 6. It's like, who wants an autograph? Again, maybe he can't work a New Burger Boy, but he can drop by now and again. You can just do that sort of stuff. And however, and again, with all this, it's a good ending. It's like, yay for Globby. By the same token, though, Nega-Globby is literally on, it's literally over Globby's shoulders. And Nega-Globby is probably going to return, I'd imagine.
So in a way, Livermore once again comes off with some kind of victory. She might not realize it at the time, though.
Yes.
And so again, she hasn't lost, and technically she threw him out of her own volition. So technically, it's just like she's cutting her own loss.
Absolutely.
Something technically Obake didn't even do.
Yep.
Because remember when Obake lost, he pretty much just gave up.
Yeah. But I guess we should talk a little bit about, but just before we wrap up here, some others. Let's see if there's anything we missed, like Minimax. Let's talk about Minimax for a second. Of course, the wonderful John Michael Higgins returning. We had that marshmallow gag. Remember that?
It's like using your Brewsters as marshmallow toasters wasn't the best. Yes, I told you. Like, no need to point fingers. Yes, because clearly it didn't work on you.
Yep.
Like his large over the ham Baymax. Like he's basically Baymax if he was like an over the top hammy Superman.
Yes, and again, basically the best comparison I have for Minimax. He's very Buzz Lightyear-esque. He's very diluted Buzz-esque. It's just he has also like the little. The gag for me is that Minimax always looks a little bit like he's a blue version of the original design of Buzz Lightyear, where it was a smaller version, and he wore it was the red. It was like basically the red and white outfit. In this case, it's blue and white. So and he has like that kind of diluted Buzz way of talking, where he's all about heroics and justice and everything. It's fun.
Well, they didn't use that. He hasn't been seen in action much though. It seems like he's just hanging out at Fred's house most of the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm sure he's going to get his day in the sun at some point this season. So I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, the most we saw him in action in this season so far is when he was trying to catch Momokaze.
Yes.
And the whole stealing from Fred's personal Fred's parents' personal freezer, refrigerator.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Jake, do you have any hopes for the season you'd like to get out?
Well, my hope for this season, hopefully they can still continue to improve. I mean, as you guys said, these episodes have gotten better and better as they went along. So hopefully they can continue this string of improvement. Obviously, I mean that's my main hope. This series definitely has its fair share of surprises, and it's definitely showing it's a lot of its inventive combinations of various superhero tropes. Its animation qualities, it definitely I think is improving, and if they continue all these storylines and continue to basically build upon what they've built so far, they could definitely maybe even see an improvement over last season. I mean, it'll be hard to top Obake, obviously, but if they have this through line throughout the entire season, it might prove to be more cohesive.
Yes, I'd agree with that. Yeah, it has been on the ups. Again, I think episodes, I guess 4 and 5, a little bit of 3 have been showing a lot of promise, and I think it's going to carry it far. I've seen I've seen a little bit of, let's say I've seen a little bit of episode 6, and I think it looks very promising. And I feel going forward again, like looking at descriptions there, like lie detector as you did. I feel, I think I got a good feeling about this season. I don't know how fast it's gonna. I'm hoping they were around. They went around the bend the first season. I think they know what they're doing a lot this season. I think. I got a good feeling about it, but I won't lie. Again, I think Obake is definitely it's going to be something really hard to measure up to. But again, this Amara intrigues me. I'm not 100% sold on her from the beginning, but she's grown on me a great deal, especially on a rewatch, episode 4 especially. And again, there are a lot of really interesting parallels and themes to this season. I feel I think they're gonna. I get a sense they're gonna stick to it. I'm not saying we're not gonna have fun ones along the way, but I think. If they stick to a story sense, I mean, the main goal I have for the season, I would love it. I don't think they're going to do it, but I'd love it to happen. If again, they commit to a name, perhaps, or just like like the names, or like kind of settle the identity. At the very least, I guess like Luke Carmi in or something. That's all I'm really looking for here at the end of the day. You know.
I think the main reason they're doing that is just like in case they make another movie, they won't be confined to that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd love them to make another movie, but this series might. I don't know if the series is going to be a hindrance to that, or if it's just like we're doing this in lieu of the movie, or we're doing this in between movies, kind of like a How to Train Your Dragon situation. I'm not sure.
Or treat it as like an alternate continuity.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else we should do here. Sorry, I'm drawing a bit of a blank here, folks.
I mean, I don't think there's really much else I can say. I mean, I think we pretty much went over everything there is. I mean, should we talk about should we mention some of the upcoming episodes?
Yeah, let's do that. Jacob, read off the episodes that we do know about. Why don't we let's do that?
All right, let me try and get it pulled up.
Real quick, I want to test that little sound effect here. Just want to see if it's still working. Give me a second. Let me bring up another famous robot here. Let me try that again for posterity's sake, Jacob, while you get the episodes up. Here's the.
All right, All right, next time. The next episode is The Fate of the Roommates. Mere Horror. Something Fluffy. Supersonic Sue, and then Lie Detector.
All right, how many episodes does it say? 10 or 11 in total so far?
Let's see, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That'd be 10 total.
I see.
So, all right.
Right.
And I just checked. Apparently, there is a confirmed season 3.
Which is very good news. And again, I think I still predict that's gonna be our big Obake season.
Well, who knows? I mean, this season is all about improvement and all that, and so hopefully, the theme of improving characters also applies to improving the series as it goes along.
Yes, Tiki. Any any final thoughts on the 5 episodes or anything?
Yeah, sorry guys. Let's just say I had a pretty. It didn't. Let's just say I'm a little worn out today from the work I did at work per se. So sorry, I kind of like wound down there towards the end. I'm sure you should. Anyways, my bad. Anyways, I'm okay.
All right. Any last words from you, Tiki?
No, not really, guys. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to get back into the groove of things.
Okay. So I guess that brings us to the let's end things. Huh?
All right, everyone. We'll be back next week for episodes 6 through 10.